Hello, everybody. Nice to be with you again. Today, I want to talk about the phenomena Donald Trump. Well, everybody knows Donald Trump is the American president, yeah, and right now, because of the election and the claim of the election fraud, it's still a lot of news and reporting around Donald Trump. So I just want to share with you my experience or my understanding or my developing impression of this person, Donald Trump. You see, 4 or 5 years ago, when Donald Trump became known, when he was the president campaign candidate, 2015 or something like that. So, for after a while, I got the impression that this guy, seems to be not so good guy, because from the beginning I only also read media report about him. It doesn't matter almost which media, any major media, New York Times or Frankfurter Allgemeine, or Washington Post or Süddeutsche in Germany, all talk mostly negative about him. And one day, me and also my wife, we thought that this we cannot just believe in what they say. So let's have a check ourselves. So it's always a good practice, in my opinion, to get first-hand information, not always to learn about a person said by or claimed by other people. Better to listen to the person directly. So, of course, I don't have a personal connection with Donald Trump. So what we did is I searched in internet and looked for only full-length speech of Donald Trump. No editing, no cutting, nothing. From first minute to last minute, his original full-length speech. I remember I listened then to his speech about religious freedom, his speech in the United Nations, his speech in Poland, and so on. Maybe 5, 6 such speeches. It took a lot of time, but it's worth. Why? Because after I listened to Donald Trump directly, full length, no cutting, no adding, no comment from any other people, I got another picture of this person, same Donald Trump, but totally different picture compared to the picture I got first from the mainstream media. So that was an alarming thing. And then, of course, I was alerted. So then I started to see clear evidence that the mainstream media are manipulating me, and maybe you, and maybe many of us, about Donald Trump. I give you some example. Donald Trump said NATO is obsolete. I remember he said it in the very beginning when he just became, or before he became president, and also in the beginning of his presidency. And what was the reporting then from the mainstream media? Well, it says Donald Trump saying we don't need NATO. And in Germany, in many European mainstream media, you will see, we in Europe, we have to look after our own security. We cannot rely on America because this Donald Trump, he's saying NATO is obsolete. He doesn't want to have NATO anymore. But then when I dig into the fact that the thing is not true. Yeah. First of all, what is true is he did claim, or he did require the other NATO member states to pay more money because they all promised 2% of the GDP. And if you haven't paid that much, then you haven't kept your promise. So he was pushing Germany and so other European countries to pay more. So then I say, hey, if he doesn't want to have NATO, why he push other member states to pay more? When he does this, that means he cares about the survival, the existence of NATO, right? And actually, I understand later, when he said obsolete, he meant that NATO need to be renewed Yeah, it is because NATO is not a secret. NATO was formed or is founded with an assumed enemy, and that was Soviet Union. Yeah, to protect Europe and America, North America, against the eventual aggression from communist Soviet Union. And Donald Trump was the opinion already 5 years ago that there's no more Soviet. Russia is not our enemy or threat number one. And threat number one was China. But at that time, Donald Trump didn't want to upset too many people by saying China. Yeah, but I understand it is what he meant. And later, when you see what he did, it's exactly correct. Yeah, he just wants to reform NATO so that we can better protect ourselves from potential threat from China. I can give you another even more clear example. I remember very well, actually, I heard Donald Trump was saying when I'm watching a press conference, he was criticizing CNN and other major media being fake news media.
A few days ago, I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people. Because they have no sources, they just make them up when there are none.
He actually even say, the biggest enemy of our country is the fake news media. And guess what was reported the day after? In New York Times and in Washington Post and so on. Yeah? It says, Donald Trump said, our country's biggest enemy is the media. That is called manipulation. He never said the media, he said the fake news media. It's a big, big difference. Yeah? So, and you know, you can go on forever. A lot of people blame Donald Trump of being an incompetent president because he accepted a telephone call from the president of Taiwan and talked 50 minutes with her. Never happened in 47 years before that. What's wrong with that? Everybody screamed at him, but he was right. Because, as he said, Taiwan is the only democratic part of China. So what's wrong to talk to this person? Huh? And you can keep on for. I don't want to continue all this example now. And if you, sometime, you know, you get closer to the truth when after a certain period of time you look back, yeah, and then you see some clear picture. Now, when I look back in the 4 years of presidency of Donald Trump, what has happened? Well, his opponents, Democrats, maybe not just the Democrat, behind the Democrat there may be also other forces, yeah? Many mainstream medias joined this campaign against Donald Trump, yeah? And also probably the big tech company. And what was that? Well, they claimed that he won the election to 2016 is only because Russian helped him. There was a Russian collusion. And they spent 2 years to investigate him. 500 people were interviewed by the investigator. I think someone called Mueller or something like that. And so on. Spending total, I think, $48 million for that investigation. And what was the conclusion? He has no collusion with Russia. And then they started the next campaign, impeachment, and tried to get rid of him as president. And it turned out also zero evidence. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to, keep our eye open and, not be manipulated. We have to be aware that the mainstream media is not just an information source. They are much more an opinion manipulator. So this is exactly what is happening right now too. I mean, it is, for me, there are now enough evidence. Yeah, if you have time, spend some time to listen to Donald Trump's latest speech. He made a speech I think only a couple of days ago. And he said in the beginning of his speech that this speech can be the most important speech in my time of presidency. Yeah? So, and that is important to listen to. And in his speech, he stated very systematically, very clearly, all the fraud, all the manipulation behind the election. You know, he tell us about all the witnesses who courageously stand up and step forward in the hearing of Pennsylvania Parliament or Congress, and also in Georgia. You know, long list of strong evidence, not only witness. Yeah? For example, in Georgia, it was a witness telling people that, you know, she was working with the votes counting. And then the administrator told everybody, now you guys can go home. It's already 12:30 at midnight. Yeah, so and come back tomorrow morning 8 o'clock or whatever. Yeah? So everybody left, but then she discovered that 4 people stayed, and by some means she managed to take video film on these 4 people, what they were doing. And you could clearly see that when everybody has left, these 4 people went under the tablecloth of a big table and pull out many suitcases. And in the suitcases was thousands and thousands of ballots. Yeah? And they put these ballots into the counting machine very quickly, working 2.5 hours, putting in all these mysterious ballots. So why you do this? Maybe for you who are my regular watchers, you can remember the day before election, on the 4th of November, I mentioned, I follow up the whole development. I could see, from about 7 o'clock in the evening in New York time, they started counting, and Donald Trump was clearly leading, for example, in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, and Georgia, and so on. Yeah, and then right after midnight, their local time, then they stopped counting for some unknown reason. And actually, Donald Trump said, "Don't stop. Yeah, you are not allowed to do things like that." But they stopped the counting, and then a few hours later, 4 o'clock in the morning, they started counting again. And what happened is suddenly Joe Biden got more than 100,000, I think 140,000, for example, in Wisconsin, more vote.
At 3:42 in the morning, there was this. It was a massive dump of votes. Mostly Biden, almost all Biden. And to this day, everyone's trying to figure out, where did it come from? But I went from leading by a lot to losing by a little. And that's right here. That's at 3:42 in the morning. That's Wisconsin. A terrible thing.
And they have evidence for many, many fraud, not only those I mentioned before. And the worst of it, as I mentioned in my last episode, and we are experiencing a digital coup. And this coup is, they use voting system, computerized voting system, which is manipulable. You can manipulate the computer so that it shows another result than the original one. So you can just give in command, give Joe Biden 15% more votes and take away 15 from Donald Trump, and so on. You know, with the computer, it's easy if you have the key, right? So what I'm saying is, we have to watch out. I understand. The media claim that Donald Trump is terrible. He refused to accept the election result. But, I mean, come on. The election is full of fraud, and there are very clear, strong evidence and witnesses. So now, assuming that this is correct, so are we going to accept a manipulated, biased, and fraudulent election, because that means we accept to sabotage the whole democratic system. So I agree with Donald Trump. He is not defending his own presidency. He is defending the most important principle of American founding, democracy and fair and correct election. Thank you for today. Bye-bye.